Hello everyone, welcome to episode 10 of Tekken 6. In the last episode, we fought the last line of defense in the G Corporation, including Anna and Kazuya. Sadly, we lost Lars' comrade Togu during the war. And let me tell you, it was pretty brutal. Well, no need to worry though, we just had to learn how to move on. I mean, Togu is a great person to Lars, and he helped us a lot. Anyway, we're finally gonna take on Jin Kazama in Mishima Zaibatsu, although we fought Nina in the subway train. We're gonna meet Jin face to face, and he's gonna explain to us why he's causing this chaos and destruction throughout the world. We won't know unless we figure out for ourselves. So without further ado, let's go! Alright guys, we're almost at the climax of Tekken 6, but first, we need to enter the Mishima Zaibatsu Central Tower and take on Jin Kazama. Also, I'll say this once, and I'll say it again. Make sure your character and your partner had the appropriate costumes that increases your health gauge, along with any other features that will help you and your partner defeat the enemies. This is where future levels become more substantial when it comes to the enemy reinforcements. And we're not even at the hardest level of the game yet. So unless we complete the Senior Campaign mode, the hardest level of the game along with the secret levels will be unlocked. And we had to complete those too. So, let's go. Again. This is finally it.
Ellipses.
Something wrong?
It's a nothing. Let us proceed.
Alisa is acting very strange when we enter the Mishima Zaibatsu. I don't know guys, I think Alisa is trying to hide something, and it may have something to do with the involvement of the Mishima Zaibatsu. Alisa? Is there something you're not telling us? Well, we won't know unless we confront Jin. Okay, enough about Jin, let's talk about this level. I gotta say that the elevator looks really cool. I love the hexagonal glass floors, and the atmosphere looks like we're in the boss's castle. Just look at this place. It makes your body tense, and the enemies you'll encounter here are going to be very tough to deal with. There's going to be big red dudes, the Mishima melee soldiers, and the gun soldiers. This is where things get pretty brutal, and if you're playing this level on hard mode, you're in for a fight that you cannot resist. One more thing, Nina will show up and try to stop you again because her purpose at this point is to protect Jin Kazama, no matter what. We have no clue of what Jin is planning to do, but we'll see when we get there. Why do you stop at nothing to protect Jin?
Because it's my job.
If getting through you is the only way to face Jin, then so be it. Alright, so we're fighting Nina once again. And this time, we really need to fight her instead of kicking her off the platform. Those of you who wanted me to explain her description / bio when she enters Tekken 6, then you need to watch the previous episode where we fought Nina in the subway train. As for this section of the level, I recommend you guys take out the gun women first before you target Nina. If you don't, then the gun women will interrupt you just by shooting at you and Alisa. The first bullet puts you in a stun state, and the second bullet and so on knocks you down on the ground. Be careful with your surroundings when you fight the enemies and the bosses. For here, Nina's not really a threat. She hardly uses her signature throws and attacks, so you can just take her out pretty easily. Just what do you think you're doing to our world? I'm just returning everything back to the way it should be. Even if it means ending everything in the process? That's no concern to you. Alright, so we're up against Jin Kazama, the head honcho of the Mishima Zaibatsu. Here's his description of entering Tekken 6. Well, apparently now that he's taken over the Mishima Zaibatsu, I guess he's the one who began this tournament in the first place. Jin's first appearance is in Tekken 3, his fighting style is traditional karate, and he's from Japan. Jin Kazama defeated Jinpachi Mishima and took over the Mishima Zaibatsu. He utilized his elite military unit, the Tekken Force, to carry out covert missions in order to engulf the world in chaos. Once he had rendered most countries' military power useless, he took over space colonies, oil fields, and other energy-producing resources. He declared the Mishima Zaibatsu's independence and waged war against the rest of the world. The Mishima Zaibatsu swept across the globe, taking over nation after nation. But as the war continued, new opposing forces slowly began to show their presence. Jin learned that Kazuya Mishima was controlling the first and most powerful opposition, the G Corporation. When the G Corporation put a price on his head, Jin announced the King of Iron Fist Tournament 6, as if he had been waiting for the G Corporation to make its move. Objection! Technically, Alisa wasn't built for Jin to begin with until Tekken 6 happened. After we finish this level, I'll explain to you guys why Jin was able to program Alisa. But first, we had to deal with our partner, who was traveling with us this whole time. Oh, that is so not good. We're up against Alisa Boskarovich, our partner who was traveling with us in this entire Let's Play. When I fought Alisa in the Snare campaign mode, I really thought she betrayed me when she serves Jin. But now, I understand Alisa's capabilities and what she can do. Part of her memory still has Lars in her database, so apparently she wasn't actually gone. She was programmed. I'll tell you more after this level, but let's deal with her and the big red guys. What you need to do here is to KO the big red guys first before you target Alisa. When you do, they'll drop the chickens that restores your health gauge, but you can only grab them when you're low on health. Speaking of health, if you're farther away from Alisa, she'll taunt at you and then recovers her health for a little bit. You need to KO Alisa fast before time runs out. Be on your guard when she's in her destructive form. Her chainsaws are very annoying to punish and very annoying to deal with. If you're at a certain distance, she'll shoot a double rocket punch at you, which is an unblockable attack that can be dodged pretty easily by ducking or sidestepping. She also has an unblockable attack where she takes her head off and then attacks you with it. So yeah, Alisa is a unique fighter that has an arsenal of unexpected moves. She may be a cute android, but she's very dangerous when she attacks you. Alisa's from Russia, and her fighting style is unique. Deep in the forest of Russia is a heavily guarded research facility, the Voskarovich Laboratory. This facility was highly valued by the Mishima Zaibatsu as a hub for the organization's military equipment development. The lowest level of the Voskarovich lab houses a top secret area in which a young girl was found sleeping in a clear capsule. Alisa has been going along with Lars all this time, but suddenly switched sides and joined Jin Kazama. Guess you can't blame a bot for following her core programming. Thanks to all the data she's collected so far, Alisa is now a bigger threat than ever. It's no wonder that mad scientist Dr. Voskatovich gave her his daughter's name. There may come a time when we'll have to exterminate her.
Alright, so here's a story of why Alisa was able to protect Jin. Do you remember the second episode of Tekken 6 where I explained to you guys about both Lars and Alisa? Well, the second episode of Tekken 6 is just a refresher of who those characters are, since they're the new characters in the console version of Tekken 6. We already know Lars' purpose, but there's something that you should know about Alisa and the Mishima Zaibatsu. You see, Dr. Voskatovich lost his daughter Alisa due to illness. He never found a cure for her, so instead, he decided to create an android that resembles her daughter and named her Alisa. Dr. Voskatovich began this project since Tekken 3. He wanted to accomplish his goal of creating Alisa because he wanted to see his daughter one last time. When Tekken 6 happened, Jin took over the Mishima Zaibatsu when he won the King of Iron Fist Tournament 5, aka Tekken 5. Plus, you guys already knew about how Jin engulfed the world with chaos and destruction with military forces and stuff. We all know this. Not only that, Alisa was almost finished in Voskanovich's lab during that time. Anyway, according to Alisa's description/bio, the research facility in Russia was highly valued by the Mishima Zaibatsu. That's right, all those years ago, Dr. Voskatovich was working with the Mishima Zaibatsu. Now that Jin took over this conglomerate, every source of material that was affiliated with the Mishima Zaibatsu belongs to him. So here's my theory about Jin and Alisa. Jin is a smart guy who covers his tracks. Before he announced the King of Iron Fist Tournament 6, Jin traveled to Russia and then found Dr. Voskatovich's lab. I have no idea how he knew about the lab or found the lab, but for some reason, Jin found Alisa in a capsule while he was investigating the area. Now that he controls the Mishima Zaibatsu, like I said before, Alisa belongs to him now. So Jin studies all of the components and attachments that Dr. Voskatovich added in Alisa. Then Jin found out that Dr. Voskatovich installed a vocal system in Alisa. So Jin took advantage of the vocal system and claimed Alisa as his own by inputting his own voice. And that's why Alisa obeys Jin from his voice commands. It also explains why Alisa was speaking Japanese. It's because Jin sets Alisa's voice to Japanese because Jin speaks Japanese. Alisa has artificial intelligence where she can speak all kinds of languages known to man. If Jin didn't set Alisa's voice command to Japanese, then Alisa would have spoken German since she and her father was from Russia. Remember the Jack robots that attacked Dr. Voskatovich's lab? Well, the assault wasn't actually Jin's doing. The Jack robots belong to the G Corporation, and who's the head honcho of the G Corporation right now? It's simple. It's none other than Kazuya Mishima. The reason why he's the head honcho of the G Corporation and why he sends the Jack robots is because he wanted to take down not only the Mishima Zaibatsu, but also his son Jin. Therefore, Kazuya was the person responsible for losing Lars' memory from those Jack robots. Apparently, Jin knew about the existence of Dr. Voskatovich's lab, but he didn't know that the lab got attacked by the Jack robots until he was eavesdropping from Alisa's database right after Alisa was awakened from her slumber in her capsule. Wait a second, something doesn't add up.
How on earth did Jin input his voice commands to Alisa while Alisa was asleep? Yeah, I don't know, guys. The scenario campaign mode has a few plot holes that no one could possibly figure out for themselves because the plot wasn't structured correctly. So I had to create my own theory just to connect the puzzle pieces together. If you want to agree with my theory, that's fine, as long as you understand this screwed up plot in Tekken 6 with your imagination. Anything goes, right? Good. Then let's return to the game. Our next destination is Mystic's Village. I don't know who Mystic is in Tekken 6, but there will be suspense in these final 2 levels. We're almost done with the main storyline in the Snare campaign mode, so don't relax just yet. This campaign shall be done momentarily. What the hell is going on here? It's like a sea of fire.
Magma's starting to erupt throughout the vicinity. But how? It's geologically impossible.
It must be Jin's doing. Somehow this all feels like a result of his actions. I'm positive of it. Let's hurry! Well, this is a turn of events. The tone of this area is getting darker all of a sudden. The villagers are being attacked by enemy soldiers, the village was assaulted by an invasion with sacred flames and firepower, and now, Alisa disappeared and she was nowhere to be found. Man, this is definitely not Lars' lucky day, is it? All this time, Lars had a faithful female companion to share information with. Now that Jin took control over Alisa, this entire scenario campaign mode turned out to be a bunch of bull, and it leads to a fact that Lars will fight for his existence, whether he has Alisa, his friends, his army, or none of the above. He's quite determined when situations like this becomes dire, and I like it. His character was the main reason why Lars is my favorite male Tekken character because of what he's been through throughout this entire game. I'm rooting for him whenever I see him in Tekken tournaments. So yeah, whenever I see Lars in Tekken tournaments, I'm gonna root for him all the way. Anyway, in this level there are enemy soldiers that show up to attack both you and the villagers. If you defeat the enemies while the villagers are defending themselves to fight back, then they'll join you to fight more upcoming enemies in this firestorm. The villagers are just there to help you, so they don't affect your score whether you save them or not. You and your partner are the only ones that can annihilate most of these enemy soldiers. That's right, no bonuses, no penalties, and no requirements upon these villagers. Just beat up the enemy soldiers and head to the summit. Unfortunately, this level doesn't have a boss. Instead, we even have even more soldiers, but this time, it's not what it appears to be. Oh, how the mighty Tekken force has fallen. All of you against one girl? A traitor like you has no right to judge us. I'm gonna do more than just judge you. Here I come. Okay, so the woman that we're trying to rescue from these enemy soldiers over there is Zafina. Zafina is one of the new characters that was introduced in the arcade version of Tekken 6. She plays a role in the story where she warns Jin about Azazel, the monster that he was trying to resurrect in the ancient temple. Here's her description/bio of entering Tekken 6. Zafina's origin is unknown, and her fighting style is ancient assassination. Zafina, who has great spiritual powers, was born to a group of spiritual warriors with an ancient past. Since childhood, Zafina was raised to be a protector of an imperial tomb. Several years ago, a foreign army attacked the imperial tomb she and her group were protecting, and Zafina single-handedly wiped every single one of them out. Since then, the group's guru appointed her to be its sole assassin. In her public life, she uses her spiritual powers as an astrologist, but recently she can only see evil omens, and her premonitions grow more and more intense day by day. Seeking to understand the meaning behind all of this, Zafina sought the advice of her guru, and he began to tell her an ancient tale passed down from generation to generation, only to a select few. According to the tale, two evil stars will shake the world when they come into contact, and inevitably the two will unite with the sealed ancient evil being protected by her group destroying the world. Zafina considered the meaning behind the guru's tale and her premonitions well. Setting out on a course that took her far east to the place the evil stars were believed to be gathering, she journeyed with the intentions of destroying them. So basically, Zafina's story is based on Julia's story, because they're both similar and they were both warned about their relatives or some other person who knew about these omens and superstitions and whatnot. And, well, things just kind of go from there. We had to stop Jin and Kazuya from colliding each other, and then bam. Jin knew about Azazel for some reason, and we still haven't figured out his motive or his purpose of why he's doing all this destruction. Ergo, we're almost done with the scenario campaign mode. Not to worry, everyone. As soon as we confront Jin outside the ancient temple, he will tell us everything about what's going on with the world and himself.
Zafina's been a big help on the mission, providing us with vital intel, and now her village is under attack by the Tekken force. It seems Jin Kazama's been after something called Azazel all this time. If our guess is right, then he's headed to the location where this thing is sealed. We have to hurry. Time is of the essence.
Alright, so we have to locate Jin Kazama at the ancient temple. However, there's something else that I should tell you about before entering this level. You'll encounter 4 bosses in this level, and they're very challenging. This is the last time I'm telling you this about level preparation. Make sure you equip some items that increases more health gauge, damage, and other aesthetics that'll help you survive this level. We're going to encounter the final boss in this game, and you better make sure your body's ready.
Is this the place?
Yeah, no doubt about it. But when we investigated before, these ruins weren't on the map.
We have to assume Kazuya and the rest are already in there. Let's move! Alright, this is it. We've reached the climax of this scenario campaign mode, and we will triumph all the way through this entire level. Let's review the first part of the level. At the entrance, the enemy soldiers, the Jack robots, and the giant robots from the G Corporation are already here. When they saw you, they'll charge right at you and then attack you. You'll run into plenty of assaults that'll swarm you throughout this entire level, and they mean business. Remember what I told you from the previous episodes about the enemy soldiers with stunt rods and guns. On the other hand, the robots will cause major damage to you if you're not careful. If you're having a hard time with this level, don't worry about it. The items in the wooden crates are there for a reason, and you need to use them wisely. It's possible to complete this level without any items at all, which will be challenging for you if you take that route. But it's up to you. There's no wrong way of playing Tekken 6 or any other Tekken game in general. Just go out there and do what you have to do. I hope you guys enjoy the scenario campaign mode so far as much as I do. It has a little replay value because each and every character has different pieces of dialogue that are either canon to the main Tekken storyline or just for comedic reasons. Either way, it's fine. Oh, I almost forgot. Since we're here, there are 2 music tracks that I have to explain to you about. One of them is awful and the other one is out of place. As soon as we get to those certain areas, I'll explain to you why they're so awful to listen to. This area will be a huge threat when you return here at this hallway. Kazuya is up ahead at the big double doors waiting for us to approach there. Well, enough about that. This music track in this area is the awful one. When you listen to this track, there's no energy or creativity being put into it. This music track sounds very lazy and it lasted for about at least 1 minute, which is too short for a music track in this area. Other music tracks from other games that are short or repetitive sound okay, even when those music tracks loop back to the verses of the song. This music track, however, in this hallway temple, it sounds unnecessary and dull. Also, it doesn't continue the melody when it loops. When this song ends, there's a silent gap for a few seconds, and then it loops back to the song. I don't understand why there are a few music tracks in Tekken 6 that sound either terrible or out of place. No one will ever remember those music tracks in this area or the Kuma boss theme in Tekken 6. There's another music track in this level that feels out of place, and it'll ruin what was supposed to be an epic boss fight in this entire game. As soon as we get there, I'll pause the video and explain why I chose to create a second playthrough with Julia, along with my chosen music tracks from other video games. Oh, I almost forgot. There are some big red dudes in this hallway temple. Just letting you know. Stop right there! You again? Just turn around and give up. I can't let you go any farther. Prepare yourself! Okay, so this is the second time we fight against Kazuya Mishima. Not to worry everyone, the difficulty setting didn't change. Unless you put on hard mode, but that's after you beat the game. Anyway, this is the same Kazuya as you were fighting back at the G Corporation at the Millennium Tower heliport. If you want to know about the description / bio of Kazuya, then I would recommend you watch the previous episode, where all the G Corporation soldiers and the Jack robots and the giant robots were swarming us at that area. And Kazuya Mishima just came in with a helicopter, and he just drops by and then attacked us. That scene right there is a homage to the introduction of the Tekken trailer by Namco Bandai. And I love it. It's just perfect. I was looking forward to that. Anna, get out of here. You're supposed to be unconscious.
By the time we reached the temple, the G Corporation's elite forces were already stationed out in front. This could mean Kazuya Mishima was after the same thing as Jin. Maybe Zafina's legend about the two dark stars wasn't so wrong after all. But the thing about legends is that they aren't a mirror of the future. They're just flimsy predictions, and I know a hell of a lot of ways to disprove predictions. The only ones fit to shape the future is us, who live here in the present.
Something feels off.
Uh-oh, I don't like this. Be ready. Anything can happen.
You too. Alright guys, we made it into Azazel's temple, and let me tell you that this place is by far one of the most interesting places in Tekken 6. It's very dark and ominous, and I felt the tension of this stage when I enter it. The gargoyles are popping out from the walls and the stairs. They're guarding this temple to protect Azazel, and they show no mercy when they attack you. That's right, the gargoyles are considered to be the hardest enemies that you ever faced in Tekken 6. You'll see why when we finish the main story of the scenario campaign mode. These guys can swoop underneath you if they can. Stay on your guard until Azazel approaches to the scenery, and then annihilate him with everything you've got. Also, take advantage of any dropped items on the floor. You're gonna need them. Find plenty of chickens to survive the fight, along with the treasures, and keep your eyes open throughout your surroundings. So, you're Azazel.
The very say, fear me, for I am known as the rectifier of all things.
Rectifier? Does that mean you're the source of all these disasters?
Yes, mankind bound, thinking it could escape subjugation. Willfully and selflessly, they have reduced the world to taters. Now the sinners must atone.
You're nothing more than a monster with a god complex. You're finished. This enormous monster of hell is Azazel. He was known as the rectifier of all things. Although there is a little bit of history beyond Azazel, this thing was created to absorb any negativity throughout the entire planet. Once he absorbs enough negative energy, he'll become an unstoppable being. Remember Julian and Safina's objective in Tekken 6 that they have to stop Jin and Kazuya from colliding each other? Well, it turns out that it's too late. They already collided, and now Azazel has awakened in his temple. And now this thing will destroy humanity unless we stop him. And this is where the phrase atone for your sins take place. Because, well, the sins is actually punishment. During this fight, Azazel has plenty of cheap tricks to offset you. He can fly, he can stomp on you, he can charge at you, he has a devil laser, he can summon crystals from the ground, he can summon bats, and he can even trip you with his tail. Azazel is one tough beast to fight against in Tekken 6, especially in arcade mode. There's one way to stop Azazel canon-wise, but we'll see when we continue further in this story. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. When Azazel turns red, his attacks and movement will be very fierce to handle, so be extra careful when fighting him. Were you guys wondering that Azazel is the final boss in the Snare campaign mode? Well, guess what? He isn't. The final boss of the game is right outside of this temple, and you probably know who it is. Azazel is the final boss in the arcade mode, that's for sure. But for Snare campaign mode, well, it's gonna be a surprise once we leave this temple. So yeah, technically we're halfway done with this level.
It's over. Mother. You mean Jin Kazama?
I used to doubt anything having to do with the supernatural, but after what I saw today, who wouldn't believe in things like gods and demons? What we saw was nothing short of a demon in real form, but I can't let a creature like that live. If an abomination like him can be called the Rectifier, then what's that say about our identity as an organization? We're the only ones who can uphold and protect the power balance of the world.
Uh-oh, this isn't good. Yeah, I think this entire place is about to collapse. Shoot, we need to hurry. Okay, so now this hallway has a gimmick. Since we defeated Azazel, we have no choice but to leave this temple unscathed. Those pillars that are collapsing right behind you will kill you and your partner instantly. No matter how much health you have, the pillars will crush you. You can't stay in this hallway for long, or else you'll get crushed by the pillars and their debris. Moreover, if you lose your partner in this area or the next area, well, guess what? You're gonna have to fight these enemies alone, unless you died, of course. Meaning that this whole situation is gonna be a lot harder than it was normally. The enemy soldiers will slow you down, so you need to defeat them as fast as you can. Also, if you see any boxes lying around this temple, you have to smash them immediately so you can grab whatever items that'll pop out right in front of you. There's a special flag in this hallway temple that you can find, but I don't know how to trigger it though. You don't have to pick up this special flag if you don't want to. There are other special flags you can search for pretty easily, such as the special flag that we found in Lily's level. That's actually the easiest one there is. Well, not really, because there's also another easy one in Raven stage. Alright, that's pretty much it for this hallway temple. All you have to do is to obliterate the enemies here and head to the exit. There's a boss fight coming up soon, and you have to remember what I told you about preparing yourselves before entering this level, period. It's the longest level in Tekken 6, but I've seen worse. Just go out there and give it everything you've got. Well, that's just great. We're trying to defeat Jin outside of the temple, and now we're being ambushed by Alisa and her goons. They're trying to protect Jin no matter the cost. Anyway, I would recommend you fight the minions first, and then take on Alisa. That way the battle becomes a lot easier to complete. There are 4 wooden boxes in this area, so in case you're having a hard time, just smash the boxes and grab the items. Use them wisely so you'll obtain the advantage of this battlefield. The Alisa fight wasn't that hard though. Literally, it's the same fight as our first encounter with Alisa in the central tower of the Mishima Zaibatsu, but with a slight increase of the AI difficulty. Remember, every time Alisa taunts, she replenishes a bit of her health. She'll do whatever it takes to outmaneuver you, so keep your eyes open and avoid her tricks. There's a chicken in one of these boxes, so if you see one and if your health is running low, then you're gonna need to run up and get it, or else the enemies will catch up to you and then you'll be assaulted by them. And you definitely gonna get a game over if that happens. So yeah, please be careful when you do this. Alright, this is it. The final battle with Jin Kazama.
head of the Mishima Zaibatsu. But before I begin, I need you to listen to this music track. This music track is the music track that ruins this boss fight. That music track was the same music track from Leo's stage. When I listen to this music in this area, it's okay when I'm fighting against Alisa, but with Jin? Nuh-uh. Nope. The music that was chosen here in this area killed that moment of tension. You were so tensed up that this is the final challenge of the game, but then this music that feels out of place came in and then the tension just drops like a rock. I hate that. It ruins that one fateful moment in this part of the level. When you battle a final boss of a video game, you know that he or she will be the hardest opponent throughout the main story or challenge. The music that you listen to during the final boss fight brings you even more pressure, meaning that you're telling yourself that you have to beat him or her, or this battle is going to be tough. That's what I wanted to see, but unfortunately it didn't happen in the Snare campaign mode in Tekken 6, according to my opinion. To me, it's just downright lazy, laughable, and boring. Even the previous Tekken games have a better soundtrack than the ones in Snare campaign mode, which is disappointing. This part of the last level is the main reason why I chose to create a second playthrough with my favorite female Tekken character, Julia Chang. That way, I can be more creative in this entire campaign with the video game music chosen for certain levels. In fact, some of Tekken 6's music tracks are not that memorable, which is another issue with the game's music. Overall, some of these music tracks in Snare campaign mode just doesn't cut it for me. The arcade music is average, which is completely okay. If you enter a stage with music that was either out of place or weird to listen to in a certain portion of the area, then the whole situation will be nothing but dullness and boredom. Oh, but wait. There are some people who like this music in Snare campaign mode, and I'm completely fine with that. If you don't care about Tekken 6's soundtrack, then that's fine too. Everyone has their own opinions when it comes to music and other stuff, especially in video games and other genres. Okay, opinion time is over. Let's return to the game. Alright, the moment we've all been waiting for. We're fighting against Jin Kazama, head of the Mishima Zaibatsu. When you approach him, he'll start out by shooting a laser beam at you. When you fight him, he's sort of a broken character. He has infinite special steps, an excessive amount of elemental effects when he attacks, and he's pretty fast too. Again, you have to eliminate the enemy soldiers first before you take on Jin. The boxes will respawn from the previous battle with Alisa, so you should have no problem surviving this battle too. Likewise, it'll take a few tries to win this battle, but I know you can do it if you made it this far in Tekken 6. Don't try to hesitate either, because Jin will still punish you even if you try to escape from him. You have to go for the offense and create some mix-ups with Lars or any other character if you're choosing. Just remember one thing. Never give up. You can do this. We're at the final level of this game, well, technically the main story of the Snare campaign mode, and we're up against one of the hardest characters in Tekken history. And I died. Dang it. Okay, let's try this again. Well, since I died in this level, I lost all of my points. If you care about the high scores in Tekken 6, well guess what? You have to restart this entire level all over again. All 4 parts of it. But the good thing is that this area counts as a checkpoint, so you don't have to worry about restarting the entire level unless you want it to. Not to worry everyone, the items that you collected throughout the previous sections of this level will be kept in your inventory. So yeah, there is no penalty beyond death whatsoever in Tekken 6. Alright, that's it. We are done. Jin Kazama has been crossed out. We are done with the main story of the Snare campaign mode.
すことができる。デビルの力を持つ者だけだ。そう。俺以外にはな。俺は全てを終わらせる。何をする気だ。ジン。あなたは知っていたのか。
Yes. But what's done is done. Jin. Jin put everything he had into this one moment. It's not for me to judge if he was right or wrong. Maybe you're such a saint if you think you can. But somehow, I doubt it.
Thanks to you, the higher-ups are finally starting to get the picture. They're going to send a unit to investigate. Once I get back to civilization, I'll help them get started.
連中が来る頃には遺跡は砂の中だぞ。
This was way over our heads to begin with. I figure I'll just entertain them for a while and they'll be on their way.
どうかな。
You have to wonder, did Jin Kazama really want it to end like that?
The fight was long, but it finally met its end with Jin Kazama being destroyed along with that beast, Azazel. Now that all that's left is what to do with Alisa. She was an inch away from shutting down permanently, but now that she's back to her senses, Lars isn't letting her out of his sight for a second. Considering their relationship, it may not be a good idea to get on Lars' bad side. I guess this is where we part ways. But even with the threat of Azazel's resurrection put to rest, there are still more threats on the horizon. I foresee some busy days up ahead.
に思い当たらなかった。
エクセレント。君には大きな借りがあるか。
そうだったな。それで、彼女は
少し時間をもらうことになる。とにかくシステムが複雑すぎる。さすがはボスコビッチなんです。実にエクセレント。
よろしく頼む。
任せておいてくれ。
How'd it go?
なんとかなりそうだ。
Good.
これは
Toko gave it to me. Said to make sure I returned it to you.
あんたには世話になったな。
Don't thank me just yet. Tomorrow, we might be enemies.
あいつが忍者だということを忘れていたな。俺だ。了解。すぐに向かう。
And there you have it. That is the main story of the Snare Campaign mode in Tekken 6. And boy, I gotta tell you, that was some ride. I enjoyed this gameplay, and it wasn't that bad, really. Although it does suffer a few flaws with the repetitiveness of the levels and reusing each of the level designing, like copy and paste and stuff. I actually enjoyed this game. If you have Tekken 6, I would recommend it. It's like the Tekken Force mode in retro Tekken games, but longer. It has some replay value where you play with the other characters and read each of the other characters' dialogue where they counter each other. The moment where characters talk to each other outside the cutscenes was pretty good, and some of them were very funny. Speaking of characters, the game explains what Lars has to go through when he sends his team to fight the Mishima Zaibatsu. Then, he lost his memory due to the explosion from the Jack robots, and now we understand what our main objective is. We have to restore Lars' memory. In fact, this game is the reason why I like Lars as a character, and my favorite male Tekken character. He kind of reminds me of me just a little bit though, where you know, like people around you don't even get along with you as well, and Lars has been mistreated recently when he encounters some of the characters in scenario campaign mode, and I felt the same way for him. I still like him though. He is a good character. His moveset was so much fun to play with, and I'm glad he's in the Tekken series. The gameplay mechanics were okay, but there were some moments where you had to fight the camera. I like the combat too because I love the nostalgia with the previous Tekken games who had the Tekken Force mode. Oh yeah, and speaking of the camera, you're gonna have to get used to the camera and the lock-on mechanics if you're planning to play Tekken 6, because sometimes it gets a little bit annoying when you're trying to fight multiple amount of enemies in one screen. And we're just gonna have to deal with it.
Overall, this game is pretty good. I like Tekken 6.
Status.
We only just arrived here, sir. Nobody's gone near it.
Take me there. Who found it?
A spy drone circling the vicinity. There are no footprints in the area. I think it's safe to say we're the first ones here, sir.
The specimen and pack things up. On the double.
Yes, sir.
Why can't I be wrong just once?
And that concludes the long episode 10 of Tekken 6. This whole time, Jin had to discard his double gene out of his body into Azazel. One thing that I like about Tekken 6 is that this game wanted you to think Jin is the villain in this story because of the chaos reigning all over the world. Yep, every single piece of negativity has been absorbed by Azazel, and it was the reason why it woke up. Well, technically, Kazuya and Jin clashed together in a fight, and they have huge amounts of negativity inside their body, which includes the devil gene, of course, and that's why that huge negativity woke up Azazel. As if someone told Jin about the ruins or something. I'm not really sure, but I digress. When I was doing some research on Azazel, there was actual Jewish mythological information about this creature. So Azazel wasn't made from scratch to begin with. It's a mythical creature that... You know what? I'd rather not explain about the details about this monster. You can just Google it and see for yourself. The main story of Tekken 6 is accomplished. But we're not done with the Snare campaign mode just yet. There's still 3 more levels that we have to tackle in Snare campaign mode in order to unlock the 3 missing characters. The next episode will be the finale of Tekken 6, so look forward to it pretty soon. I'll see you guys later.